Today's Tales from the Mountain story takes us to the beautiful Mountain Rose Inn in Patrick County, Virginia. Joseph Howard DeHart. Everyone just called him Joe. He produced whiskey at this Mountain Rose Distillery, number 250. In 1901, he built a huge home near Rockcastle Creek in Patrick County, Virginia. Born in 1870, old whiskey man, he always had a simple motto for his mail order customers. Honest goods and full measure, that's what it said. He posted that in a lot of his advertisements. He also had ads that said this whiskey's all 100 proof for $2, $2.25, $2.50, and $3 a gallon. You may by chance buy whiskey as good as mine, but there's nothing purer, no matter the price you pay. Would also be on a lot of his advertisements. In 1910, Joe packed up his family and his operation, and he moved from Woolwine to Philpott so he could be closer to the railroad to get everything shipped. 6 years later, Prohibition hit, and in 1916, a new law was enacted that kept Joe from selling his own whiskey. All the way up to the end of being able to sell his whiskey, he always had humorous advertisements. He'd always warn them about being prepared. One of his ads even said, "Good whiskey will be hard to procure." Another ad said it wouldn't be a bad idea to lay away 10 years of corn whiskey, for medicinal purposes, of course. He would even sell whiskey to his employees, but it said that if he heard of one of his employees getting drunk on it, acting silly, he'd never sell anything to him again. But unfortunately, Prohibition changed Joe's whole life. He ended up having to return to Woolwine, where he farmed peaches and apples, and said he made vinegar, and he also had a roller mill where he produced flour and cornmeal. And with great sadness, he had to destroy his distillery. Joe passed away in 1956, and the mansion was left in ruins. But in 1990, a family bought it. They made it into the Mountain Rose, a bed and breakfast. And Susie, the lady that ran it, she said once they started doing all this work, all this remodeling and things, that it must have woke up Joe's spirit. Because she said you could hear him walking up the creaky steps, and they had a rocking chair up there. He'd go upstairs and you could hear him settle down in that rocking chair and start rocking. There was tales from people that stayed there of disembodied voices. They also could hear the people, or Joe, I guess you'd say, walking the steps and footsteps upstairs. But unfortunately, Susie's passed on now, and the people that have the place now say so has the ghost of Joe, because they never hear anything out of there anymore. Have you ever visited the Mountain Rose Inn? If so, I'd love to hear about it, especially if you got a good story of old Joe. And don't forget to follow me for more Tales from the Mountains.